Napoleon was. She says, see, he took exactly that coin. You are a thief. You are a liar. She was screaming at the man. People started gathering around. But the poor shopkeeper, I'm telling them Rabbi's story about the Napoleon. The one that was on the Chavetz Chaim Heritage Foundation. Thanks a million, Rabbi. Shem Shirpei.
So two boys just gave me money, right? Y'all see, and who else? Who else gave me by lunch? Before lunch?
Maybe?
Who? You? Okay. So now we're still waiting for who? For Tusk, Sender, Krasner, and?
I gave you.
Krasner. Yeah. So Tusk and Sender?
Yeah.
Sender, you have a cake. I was looking for you yesterday. Delicious. Went perfect with my coffee.
I can't say the story as nice as Jimmy Muller did, but I'll try.
Which story?
The one where the kid went to buy candy with the Napoleon.
I listened to the story.
And it turns out the people started saying, "Ooh, the chutzpah, the nerve, this shopkeeper stole from the family." And meanwhile, he keeps saying, "I'm telling you, I'm innocent. The kid gave me a penny, and I gave him some candy for the penny, and he gave me a Napoleon." And the woman was screaming, and he was getting bizyonus, ashamed from every side. And the woman started telling everyone Lashon Hara. She says, "He stole my Napoleon from the hands of my little child." So, in the end, they decided to go to Beis Din. And the Jewish court summoned both parties to discuss what the claim each one has. And the father this time came, and he said, "Listen, I had a Napoleon, my son took it, gave it to the storekeeper." So the Beis Din says, "You have no witnesses. So you know what? Since the storekeeper says that he only got a penny, so he's kind of might have been mixes, so what we're going to do is, we're going to make him make a shvuah. A shvuah means he takes a Sefer Torah or a pair of tefillin, and he swears by the name of Hashem that he did not steal the Napoleon." Now, right then, the storekeeper said, yes, I would be happy to swear that I only got a penny and not a Napoleon. And I'm telling the truth. But when the Mayal saw that the Chenveni, the storekeeper, was willing to swear, he thought to himself, I can't let him swear falsely. Oy vey. I'm Michael. I'm Mevater on the Shvuah. Don't swear. And, okay, you're Pater, you can leave. And you could imagine that the storekeeper left the Beis Din with his head held down. And anyone who heard this story was done l'kaf chova, the Chenveni, the storekeeper, and they said, yeah, he's a thief, he's a liar. And you know what? The storekeeper's life and the life of his wife and children turned into Gehenim. Because everyone would give them ugly stares or talk behind their back or even say to them to their face, how could you steal from a poor family? There were those that even were kanayim l'shem shemayim. They told their children, don't buy from that store anymore. Even if you need to buy potatoes for the cholent for Shabbos, don't go to him. And after all that shame, his matzav became very bad. And literally the storekeeper went and started becoming a poor man himself without too many customers. Rachmana litzlan.
Did he really steal it?
So what really happened, you're all wondering. I'm sure you're very curious.
He exchanged it for a few pennies.
Let me tell you what happened. The end of the story was, after the war ended, and the English now, the British now, took over Eretz Yisrael for that time. So the Moyel got a letter from an Avrich. An Avrich is a kolo man, someone who sits and learns Torah, a good man. And he wrote in the letter, Dear Rabbi Moyel, many years ago during the terrible war, I was going in the street and I saw your son holding a Napoleon of gold in his hand. And at that time I was starving. My wife was starving. The children were so hungry you could hear their stomachs growling. And I thought to myself, wow, a little child walking with a Napoleon in his hand? How could it be? I bet that family has a lot of Napoleons. And I thought to myself, I don't want to die of hunger with my wife and children. So I did something which I shouldn't, and what I did was, I figured I'll borrow the Napoleon. And I went and I switched it from your son. I said, "Oh, can I see that coin?" And I gave him back a different coin. And I figured I would borrow it, and I would pay you back as soon as I could, when Hashem would help me, and I'll make some money and I'll return it. And I said to the boy, "What's in your hand?" And he showed it to me, and I started flipping it and spinning it, and then I took it and I switched it with a penny. And the boy didn't even know, and he didn't even chap, and he was running to the store. But now that the war is over, I want to return you the money that I borrowed and I took without your permission, because I really didn't want to do it, but I was so desperate that I'm asking you, mechila, that I took it. So the Mayol's thinking to himself, so my son didn't give the storekeeper the Napoleon. He only gave the Napoleon the penny. That's what the storekeeper said. And everyone was choshedim that he stole my Napoleon. Oh my gosh, the poor storekeeper. Such a nice individual, honest. Tried sticking up for himself, saying that he never took anyone's money, no Napoleon, no nothing. Oy, why wasn't I done him like Av Zechus? Why didn't I judge him favorably? Oy vey. And it turns out the poor storekeeper's life became broken and shattered and embarrassed and humiliated and shamed, all because a family was chayshid b'ksherim. So Reb Shalom Shvadran said this story many times in public for many years, in different places in Eretz Yisrael, to show you how you can't jump to conclusions. Don't automatically say, "Oh, that person's bad." How do you know he's bad? He says 2 years later he was in Bnei Brak, and someone came to me, and he says, "Yes, I know that story." And I remember that the storekeeper wanted to promise but I heard the story a little different. I heard that the storekeeper didn't want to promise, even though he could have. And he said, "Okay, I'll pay you back," even though it was a lot of money. A Napoleon was worth thousands of dollars. And
he could have been.
And many people even believe that he was a ganav, that here he was willing to pay it back. But what am I trying to say from this story?
It was a god.
The Mayol, the storekeeper, and the Avrech that took the Napoleon, they're all in the next world by now. And they all had to stand before the Beis Din Shalmala, the heavenly court. Because it says in Pirkei Avos that everyone has to stand up before Hashem for a din v'cheshbon, for a judgment and a accounting, a calculation of all his deeds. And the fact that the Mayol caused the storekeeper so much shame, and they told, and everyone said the Chemveni was a liar. Even Beis Din said he had to swear.
Didn't want.
Surely the storekeeper went into Gan Eden for all of the bizyonis that he suffered. But the one that stole the coin, even if you're going to say he was desperate, he did the wrong thing. He should have approached the family for a loan and not steal. You can't steal just because you're hungry. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they had to go to Gehenna for this.
No, the person that took the coin.
But you know what? I think that the worst people in the story were the ones on the side screaming, "Ganev, Ganev." Why did they have to get involved in the machlokes? You know, we have to be more positive people. This week, I was listening to one of my favorite rabbis, Rabbi Avigdor Miller Zitzal. I put his tapes in my car, so wherever I go, I can hear his hashkafa, which is pure like rubies, pure like gold, pure like diamonds. Anyway, so he made me a more positive person. I'll give you an example how I became a more positive person. I teach English in a certain yeshiva. And some boys get checks and some boys get X's. For the checks, I like to give out candy or maybe raffle tickets to win a prize. But when it comes to punishments, like, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not allowed to slap him. I'm not allowed to whip him. I'm not allowed to punch him. It's all illegal. It's child abuse. Even though Rabbi Miller said that in the olden days, children behaved better, they became better adults because they were spanked when they were bad. They got the message not to keep repeating bad behavior. And he says in the olden days, people used to kiss the children more. Today, you're not allowed to kiss the children. They say that's illegal too. So, yes, like spreading germs to a child. Strange rules of the government. So he said in the olden days, a Rebbe was able to kiss the child and hit the child. And the kid grew up being a better person because he got love when his teacher hugged him or kissed him. And he got punished when he did something bad, mischievous. Today, you're not allowed to spank. You're not allowed to kiss. So how's the kid ever going to be a better person? That's a good question. Anyway, so I wanted to punish a kid who had 17 X's. So I didn't know what to do. So let's call him Yankee. I said, Yankee, come here. I want you to write 10 times for each X that you got the following sentence. I am a good boy. Or I am a very good boy. So he had to write 170 times, I am a very good boy. So now he gave it to me. I said, thank you. Your punishment is done. Now I'm going to remind you whenever you misbehave. I'm going to say, look what you wrote about yourself. Now you have to prove that you're a good boy. Now, why did I do that? I could have made him write, I will stop being a bad boy. But I became a more positive person, a less negative person. So from now on, you could call me Mr. Positivity. Let's practice. Mr. Positivity.
Mr. Positivity.
Thank you. Now, everyone please find a seat. And I'd like to tell a story now. I might have said this story already. Who cares? Say it another million times. Okay. There was once a king. His name was Yuzgadar, the king of Persia. I don't know when he lived. Probably he lived before Achashverosh or after Achashverosh. Probably after Achashverosh. And it turns out this king Yuzgadar, or Juzgadar, I don't know his English name, but he was a powerful king. And in his time, there were many Jewish people that were in his country, subjects to the king. And he came up with a very mean rule. He said that from now on, the Jewish people are not allowed to say Shema. He didn't like that we say Shema. I don't know why he cares if we say Shema. Maybe he was jealous that in Shema, we are thinking about how much Hashem loves us as His favorite children. That's why it says love Hashem, because Hashem loves you. If we would think how much kindness Hashem does to us, we would be so overwhelmed from thinking of the miracles that He does for us every single day, ever since we're born. So much chesed. We would actually serve Hashem so much better and not so lazy. But it turns out, he also didn't want the Jews to say Hashem Echad, because when you say Hashem Echad, you're saying Hashem is the only power of the world, like it says over here. Only Hashem can do good for me or harm me. If Hashem didn't want, then someone else can't do good to me. And if Hashem doesn't want, no one can harm me. That's one of the rules of bitachon, trust in Hashem. Only Hashem can help me or harm me. So it turns out he didn't like that the Jews have this close relationship to Hashem and that they say Hashem is the only God. Maybe he had some other, chas v'shalom, some avodah zaras that he was worshiping, some getchkas, and he was insulted. How come they said Hashem is the only God? So to enforce his new edict, his new decree, he made sure there were guards in the synagogue, and they would watch if anyone is saying Shema. And you know what? The guards stay there, it seems, the first few hours of the day. Because the mitzvah to say Shema is the first 3 hours of the day. You're supposed to say it before 9 o'clock. So, he had guards to make sure that no Jew said Shema. Now the Jewish people were in a dilemma. That means they weren't sure what to do. I mean, if we say Shema, he might kill us. But we have a mitzvah to say Shema. But there's no mitzvah to say Shema and then get killed for it. Even though if someone ever is threatened to be killed, he should say Shema before. But Shema is the last pasuk you say in this world. You know that?
Yeah, everybody says
It's also the first mitzvah you do after